Is your hearth ready to be stoned, Mr. Black?
Yes, yes.
Yes. What if we just casted the entire series sounding like rich old white men?
No.
No?
No. Although it would be funny.
That'd be pretty funny.
It'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LAGTV Cast Hearthstone.
Oh, God. Oh, God. You know, I feel like that time when we first started LAGTV,
Right.
when we first decided to get together and cast
couple-
StarCraft.
Yeah.
And this is going to be that moment where we look back at this day and we
Go,
go,
what the fuck?
In the fuck?
Yeah. It's going to be
were we
LAGTV
on?
2.0 in terms of, you know, what's... Maybe that's a bad thing to say because then people are going to be like, you're not casting StarCraft anymore. No. Don't start that either, by the way. Excuse me. Yeah, so we're going to give this a good old college try. We're going to see how everybody reacts to it. Hopefully it's a relatively positive experience. I think everybody's going to have a pretty good time.
Yep.
Lots of people are into Hearthstone. Jeff and I are pretty into Hearthstone. We like it. It's a good time. Lots of fun. Before I get any Magic the Gathering guys doing circle jerks, it's not Magic the Gathering. It's not supposed to be Magic the Gathering, and it's for people who don't actually play card games.
It's a dummied down version. And I'm okay with that.
And even then, something that they don't realize is that Magic the Gathering is like 15, 20 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or more. Hearthstone, brand new. When Magic first came out, a lot of them were complaining about how many cards there are and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Hearthstone actually has more cards now than when Magic started and stuff like that. And Magic was also kind of way more simple when it first arrived. You know, it changes every year.
They're both great in their own right.
They're both great in their own
but
right.
this is not Magic. This
Yes.
is Hearthstone.
This is Hearthstone casted by LAGTV.
Yes. So
Which
that
is a
means
totally different experience.
It's not going to be your average commentary.
It's probably not even going to be commentary.
No, it's not.
That's the joke.
We're going to try.
We're going to try.
We're gonna try.
It doesn't mean it's going to go all that well, but we're going to give it our best
And I'm going to
shot.
butcher names. Here we go.
Its card names are going to be hilarious.
All right, so we got 2 players
two.
from LAGTV, and Hearthstone is going to be the same way we do StarCraft.
We're doing it. We're
It's all about you guys.
It's all about you guys.
So we have our first 2 guys.
As our trial run, these are friends of mine who are a part of the LAGTV community.
Yep.
We have Mr. Kim and we have Zpak. Many of you will know both of them from my stream. They're both moderators.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Frenchie. No, Frenchie's not a moderator on your channel. But both of them have been LAGTV members for an extraordinarily long time. Many people know about Frenchie and Mr. Kim. Frenchie being Zpak. So they offered, I went and asked, I said, hey guys, I need to get some stock footage here for this first go before we figure out how we're actually going to tackle getting, fan games in. And they said, I got you, bro. Here we go. So these 2 gentlemen have stepped forward to
So what we're going to do is we're just going to screw around here. We're going to do these games. We're going to cast these games. And then, of course, we'll be looking in the comment section on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Let us know what you guys honestly think about it. Also, realize that this is the first time going at this.
Yes.
Adam knows a lot more about the game than I do.
Doesn't mean I'm very good.
Yeah, but he's played all the decks.
I have a deck for every hero, and I've played and won with all of them at Masters 3.
I've only played 5 decks, but I'm Masters 3, but I main pretty much 3. So his knowledge on some of the other decks are better than mine. But if we decide we're going to keep going with this and you guys really adopt this new content
thing,
then, I'm sure this will get much more better.
Yeah.
It'll get better.
It'll get more better, to quote such literary greats as Shakespeare.
Yeah, more better. There we go.
Moreth bettereth. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show.
Cool.
It's hopefully. Don't say because I still have to edit. I still have to edit all this, and God only knows how I'm going to make it all swing. By the way, I want to give a big shout out to my man Jason.
Yeah, Jason's really cool.
Who did all these overlays and stuff for us.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He is a gentleman and scholar for doing that, and he does really great work. And our whole, before we start this, our whole concept when Jason and I sat down and decided to make all these things, and I talked him through what I envisioned was if Blizzard were to make a replay system tomorrow,
this
is what I want it to look like.
All right, well.
Okay.
You
So
set
we're set. We want to set that standard. So with that being said, let's ruin everybody's expectations right out of the gate and get this party started. As we said, we have Mr. Kim. We also have Frenchie, otherwise known as Z Puck, our two gentlemen who have so graciously thrown themselves in front of all of you in order to give us our first just random content. We're going to talk real quick about the decks, not in great detail. We're going to do that in between each game, but just to start out, we're going to give a brief overview of each of these players' decks. Mr. Kim is running his 3 decks are Hunter, Mage, and Warrior. Warrior. Mr. Frenchie is using his Paladin deck, he's using his Hunter deck, and he's using his Shaman deck.
Interesting.
Shaman, if we're just going to have a quick little chit-chat about that, Shaman and certainly Warrior, not necessarily, you don't see a lot of those in Masters 3, higher level. It's not that they don't work, it's just that in terms of the consistency of those decks, even when built well, don't hold up the same as maybe a mage or a priest or a hunter.
Yeah.
And even in some cases, paladin decks are becoming quite strong. So, interesting choices here from both gentlemen. We will talk a little bit about our first game deck, so let's go and check those out real quick. Our first game, what up? Game 1. The Frenchman is going to be using his Shaman deck.
Woo! Shaman.
Bringing out the least most common one of the least most common is Shaman and Druid are the least most common decks that I see on the ladder. I don't know, it's probably similar with you.
Well, I main a Shaman deck, but I do a Shaman Murloc deck.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
Yes, but it looks like Frenchie is going to be going for a basic value Shaman deck.
Yes, Walmart value.
That is something you most certainly don't see on ladder.
No. No. Frenchie... you're gonna the Z-Pox. It's gonna be very hard for me to not call him Frenchie.
Just call him Frenchie. We'll call him Frenchie.
Okay. So his style of play, because he hasn't bought like any packs, right? Except for what he gets on in arena and stuff. He's very value oriented. He doesn't really do a lot of like cheesy stuff.
Yep.
He basically looks at all the cards and says, this card for this mana cost is awesome. Put me in, coach.
Yep.
And so you're going to see a lot of similar cards when we go through these. You'll see them. You'll see that he got a lot of similar stuff. Chillwind Yeti is a common card in there. The Frost Wolf Lord, whatever his name is in there quite frequently. Fairy Dragon, the ones that are really value based.
So he's basically just going to be using basic value cards and using the spell power of each of the races. Or classes.
Yes.
To be able to really...
That's his style of Hearthstone.
All right, well, seems like a pretty basic style.
It's one of those, middle of the road. It can get beaten, but it's just very consistent for that reason.
Yep.
Super consistent, and it can be very annoying if he draws well.
Okay.
Very annoying when he draws well. Mr. Kim is a newer player to the game.
Oh, okay.
Has a little less of a card pool to draw from. But he tends to go with what I've played with him and stuff. He seems to be a little more into the whole mana curve thing, where he's more of he might not be necessarily into super value stuff, although he does play value cards, as much as he just looks at it and says, I want to accomplish this. If it's an early game, or if I want to be very spell heavy, stuff like that. Yeah. That's the kind of player he is.
I mean, this deck has a lot of spells in it right now.
And we should say his Mage is his first deck in this game.
He doesn't have the Pyro.
He doesn't have Pyroblast, no.
Which is...
That's the biggest dick in the Mage...
In the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that card alone will make you rage.
8 mana, 10 freaking...
It's great when you're playing Mage.
It's nuts.
But when you're not playing as Mage and you're playing against a Mage...
Don't even get me started on that shit.
Yeah.
Because Mind Control is bad for 8 cost.
Pyro is next
worse.
level. Yeah. Pyro is next level. But, speaking of next level...
Yes.
Let's jump into the game.
Oh boy.
I want to get this shit show started.
Okay.
I'm getting excited. All this talk is
getting antsy.
Making me horny.
Getting antsy. All right. This is how. So if you guys are wondering how the hell we're doing this, we're about to play 2 videos simultaneously to try and keep up with this game. It might do terribly. It might go really well. Only time can tell.
Here we go.
Thank you, UFC guy. All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We hop right into this first game here. Mr. Kim electing to immediately drop that Footman. Not a common card to actually see.
No, I don't see the Footman often. I think it's mainly because it really doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Sure, it's a taunt card, so I mean, depending on...
It's a one-cost one too, right? So it's not terrible, but it's...
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a lot of or even a couple of early low costing mana cards that you want to protect early on, it's a good card to have. But most of the cards that you're going to be up against at the start will pretty much kill it in one hit, and it usually won't kill anything with the damage that it deals back, because it only does 1 damage.
Sure.
So I mean, it does help with the mage because you do have that Fire Blast as well, so you can still do 2 damage if you want to trade a card. But for the most part, like you said, I don't really see it a whole lot. It's not a very good card, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, a lot of people will even take the 0-4 taunt there out of the gate over top of that card, just because you're not going to do a lot of damage anyway, and if you're going to protect, like you're saying, lower cost cards for the first few turns, 4 health, better than 2.
Oh, way better.
And so it's generally not seen all that much. However, like we said before, Mr. Kim might not even have that card at his disposal. It is kind of a one-sided affair here in terms of cards and skill, but these gentlemen decide to step forward for us anyway. Mr. Kim, valiant effort. Leppy, the Leper Gnome. Hashtag Leppy Hype is a major thing on my stream. That is one of my most favored value cards in the game.
Why is that?
It is have you seen this card very often? I'm sure you must have.
I've seen it a couple times, but
so against a mage, it's not phenomenal because it can just be pinged to death, right? But it is a 2/1 card that is a 1 cost, so 1 cost 2/1. Okay, that on death does 2 damage to the enemy hero. So early on, if you get that first hand, you get that bad boy out. Most times, you're either going to get 1 attack on the enemy hero, plus they tend to try and remove him, or you remove a card anyway, plus get the extra damage. So it's like 4 damage plus removal, 1 cost. It's kind of nuts.
Value 10 right there.
And if you're using somebody that can be buff, or that can buff people, I've had Leppy's last me the entire game, and I've killed people with his passive ability when he gets killed. Yeah. He can be good. Right now we're seeing the start of that spell mage deck come to fruition here.
The Grizzly here.
He's gonna trade here, and that's smart. Those shaman cards, and they're friggin' I can't think of the names of all these things, to be honest with you. I just know them by what they do. Can be a big pain in the ass. Especially if it's a shaman deck that does run a lot of overcharge, which a good shaman will likely have quite a bit of stuff that has overcharge. They can get out of control really quickly. That can be a major turnaround card, so it's good to get those off the board as soon as humanly possible, even if you have to lose most of your board to accomplish the same thing. Frenchie's got a heck of a hand building up right now. Okay, he's got that Fire Elemental. A Fire Elemental, as you probably know, playing shaman, although you use a Murloc deck, its Warcry is 3 damage, so it enters the field 3 damage. He's likely going to use it to get rid of, to help get rid of. Oh nope, never mind. Nope. He just got owned. He just got owned. All right, so he's gonna, but it's really useful for low cost removal. Or to bring down bigger cards into an area where your lower cost cards can do the removal for you, and it makes for really ridiculously good plays, really good trades. He's also got a hex. He's got his weapon built up here. He's got his
he's got a solid ass hand right now.
Spellbreaker. He's got everything that he needs to make this happen. This is going to probably escalate a little too quickly for Mr. Kim.
There's your Lava Burst there, dealing 6 damage because of the +1 spell power of that totem. And this is looking...
Nothing. I'm feeling a little bad for Mr. Kim right now. This is not going to go very well for him whatsoever. The best that he can hope for right now is I would be throwing out a mirror, throwing out his Magi, and then waiting for the opportunity to use Frostbolt and so on and so forth. You might, well... Can you? Yeah, you can. You can still use Arcane Intellect and his mirror. which I would suggest for him to do right now. He's going to use the arcane intellect.
Oh, okay.
Okay, see, this is what he's got.
He's got +1 spell power.
That one is not what I would do.
Ooh, and that just did not work out for him at all.
No, even though there's no damage on the board, technically speaking, right now, French is going to be able to do this. He's going to be able to hex.
The problem is that he's sitting on a Bloodlust as well, so the more totems that this guy gets out on the field,
they can do damage.
They're going to be able to do damage.
Yep,
and
one way or another.
They're just banking up spell power. And also got a taunt there as well. And you've got the +1 heal totem as well. One thing that I liked on the patch that they had, it no longer heals the hero as well. Because
that's
before
way too crazy.
It was healing the hero every single turn. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah, no, that's a bit too much. It was a good call to get rid of that for sure. Certainly makes sense for it to heal everything on the board for one. That's not a big deal. Healing the hero, though, that's kind of a dick move. Getting out the mirrored image now. See, here we go. That's what I'm talking about. He gets out on the field. He gets rid of it with that battle cry. It's out. It's gone. 3 damage. And now he's going to use his weapon to get rid of that.
And there's just not a whole lot he can do at this point.
No.
He's being healed every turn. There's 7 damage out on the field. He still has the Bloodlust as well.
He's going to poly that, which is a good move. It's about all he can hope for right now.
Yep.
He really needs one of his... He's running 2 Flame Strikes in this deck. He desperately needs one of them show up.
Yep, he needs one right now.
Because right now, he's looking at it and going, alright, I've got another 6 damage in my hand. I can get him down to 8. Right? But he also has to remember, Bloodlust is a thing.
See, this is where having a Pyroblast in your deck
becomes a dick move.
Becomes a huge dick move.
Yeah.
I mean, this game looks bad on one side, but it can be really changed up.
By a single card.
By a single card.
Yeah.
It really can.
It's not to say that it's the only way that a mage can win is to use a Pyroblast. It's not, but in a spell deck, it makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
To have that baby show up. You know, you can run more fireballs and stuff and use spell power to accomplish a similar task and use the Archmage Legendary to show up. Antonidas.
Ooh. 6 more damage.
There
Down to 8 health, but...
He's got a polymorph, but see, now he's used both of his fireballs.
He's got a top deck now. That's it.
And he's used at least one of his frost bolts. I don't know if he has another one. He's going to pull his frost bolt, a Warlord, which is what I was talking about. One of the cards he usually likes to run. It's going to be an 8/8 now.
Woo!
Value. Right?
Woo!
He's going to be able to use... This is going to be a 1-turn death. There's Urshock because of his spell damage, 2 damage. Now, next turn, you're going to see Bloodlust. It's going to be a 1-turn death.
Yep.
So...
Well played.
You know, this is... That's still going to be...
It's still going to be dead.
It's still going to be...
Even with the Bloodlust.
A bad... Yeah, it's still going to be a bad time. Frenchie thought, you know, oh god, I totally have this. But right now, he's got, what, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 17 damage on the board. But he gets 20 damage, because he also gets... His hero also gets 3 damage, I believe. So this is just... See, I don't know. See, right now, Frenchie's calculating. Maybe he won't go for it right this turn, but I'd probably do it because if a Flame Strike comes up,
he needs the Bloodlust now. He can't be playing these games.
If he top decks a Flame Strike, this whole board is gone and his Bloodlust is completely useless. And he is playing with fire, literally. Yeah. If I'm gonna make a bad pun.
Well, you know what? It was a decent move because he couldn't kill him that turn. And if for some reason he went over the top with all those and didn't kill him off, then maybe the mage would have gotten... Does he know that he doesn't have a Pyroblast in his deck? I don't think he knows that.
Oh, I'm not sure.
So he may have thought, well, I have to play it safe here. Or even if he had a Fireball and then used the last minion that he had out on the field, he could have died from that. So he just cleared the board, and now he'll probably use the Bloodlust to try and end this game.
Oh, he's going to go for it. He's going to get himself a significant amount of damage. Now that he has that Fairy Dragon out on the field. And that is going to be...
No, not quite enough.
Almost, but not quite.
4 more, but it's going to be GG next turn.
See, but it doesn't matter now. Now that he has Chillwind Yeti out, even if he had a Flame Strike, he'd have to blow Flame Strike plus a ping just to get rid of that Yeti with 5 health. And so,
there's the well played.
There it is. That's all that he can manage.
So close. You know, it was a pretty close game considering.
Yeah.
Concedes out.
No, he concedes. That was well played by both gentlemen indeed. Game 1 is going to go to Frenchie. So, game 1 goes to Frenchie. Let's talk real quick about what we saw there, just overall. We saw, first of all, as I expected, and honestly, guys, when you're watching this, please realize that Frenchie has an experience gap over top of Mr. Kim here.
But it was still a close game considering.
Even then, I mean, that's the power of a spell deck, is that you can really snowball damage there very quickly. It was still a very close game. Flame Strike, if that came up, could have changed the whole game, because Bloodlust wouldn't be a thing anymore, and it would have been a very different ball game indeed. It would have given him another opportunity to maybe come back and do that last 8 damage necessary.
That 8 damage when you're a mage and you have nothing in your hand, that seems like the world's longest.
That's the world's longest game
of all time, because all you can do is hope and pray that you can top deck them. You know, the only cards that you want to see at that point: Fireball, Pyroblast, which he didn't have in his deck, and or Arcane Intellect, so he can pick up 2 more cards and possibly
get one of those 2 cards.
Another Fireball.
Yeah,
that's pretty much his.
That's the show.
His hope and a prayer there, and it just didn't work out for him.
No, it didn't work out for him.
But considering, like you said, the skill gap, I mean, he played pretty well.
He played pretty well. You know, he didn't make a lot of errors there. There was a couple of trades that he could have made a little bit more efficiently, but overall was fairly well done.
So, what do we have for game number 2?
Game number 2, let me tell you. We've got game number 2. Obviously, since Mr. Frenchie, Mr. Z-Pot, won that game, he gets to move on with that Shaman deck, so we're going to see that deck again in game 2. Mr. Kim is forced to change his hand and will now be hitting us up with the Hunter. The Hunter! So, the Hunter, his Hunter deck is a kind of run-of-the-mill balanced beast deck. It's what most Hunters are going to be running unless they try and get real fancy and run like secret bow decks, like I have one, or they'll run rushdown decks with one of the most OP cards in the game, Unleash the Hounds.
Love that card.
That card's broken as hell. Talk about broken cards, man. Unleash the Hounds is dumb as hell. Most people are running beast decks. And he does not have, notably, he does not have any legendaries or anything like that, so he's not running a King Crush or anything of that nature. But he does have a relatively heavy late game selection to deal with. So he does have lots of good low end beast cards like your Raptors and your Bears and so on and so forth. But he also has some decent late game stuff. So he's leaving himself some margin for error, which is nice. Lots of hunters like to run all low end beasts because they like to get all sorts of crap on the field and again use Unleash the Hounds. But not so in this game. We will not see cheese today. Again, this goes up against Frenchie's Shaman deck.
All right, guys, and we're about to jump into game number 2.
We're going to jump into game number 2. Let's get it started.